Hey guys, welcome back to the series of videos on topic JWT, all about JWT understanding. In this part of video, we are going to understand the heart of JWT concept. This is very important video going to be, because this is where we are creating JWT. This is where we are responding JWT within cookie and saying that hey, this response needs to be stored in cookie, and this is just a payload. This token is just a payload. That's the differentiation also. And at the end, we will also check all of the endpoints so far we have understood via Postman in the working condition, so that we will be sure that our endpoint is really working in working condition without front end, right? We are not as a backend developer, we will not be building a front end app to test out our applications, right? So we will be using Postman to hit each of the endpoint, so that we'll know that our endpoints are working, and that will for sure work when front end guys or anyone who is building the front end will be able to use it without any problem. So let's start that. So understanding auth controller heart of JWT implementation. Mainly this why I'm saying this is hard, because this is where everything registration is about JWT related stuff goes on. So basically these two I'm talking about. If you go to registration, here it's in this auth controller is the heart of that. It's doing very simple stuff. When you hit the button, register button from the UI, this will simply get the data from the form. It will receive the data from form, and then it will check whether this is data is empty, whether no data is empty, right? It's a very basic validation I'm doing. There are a lot of validation can be done. For us, it's a very if there is no empty data, then we are good with the validation. In our case, for now, for just for understanding, okay. Now, once that there is no data empty, all good, then we are saying that hey, check whether this is whatever the new registration is going to happen is already existing in our system or not. For that, we are going to query database using our model. You remember model, where we are saying everything about database, that query and all is happening in model. So if you see, this is simply what it is saying, response model. Where is that response model? Yes, this auth model is calling register hacker, passing this data, and this will validate whether this is already duplicate register or not. If it is duplicate, it will throw 409 saying that this is a duplicate. This is already existing. You cannot register again, man. Please. Why? Why are you registering again? Yeah. All right. So this one else part, if let's say user is new and the credentials, the username is new to our system, then we are storing that in our database, and that's it. Registration has nothing to do with JWT and all. The JWT comes into picture when we do login. Here is the all story begins. So let's go to that. This is the login. Now we will jump to this, hold on, but before that we need to understand the two functions we have written in this controller. One is generate access token and generate refresh token. So if you see our article, we are first trying to understand, that's why, how this function is generating access token, and how this function is generating refresh token. And don't ask, I have already explained what is access token, what is refresh token, right? Anyway, access token is the one which is used by application to send any secured endpoint to get access to the data which is secured by some other credential. So instead of sending username and password, we send JWT access token to get access to the data, so that front end can utilize that. Second, the refresh token we use so that if access token gets expired, refresh token will be utilized to get a new access token. Okay, just mind it. The only difference, okay, coming to that point later. थोड़ी सी No, that's fine. So generating access token is like, this is just a very small function. If you see, this is very small function, access token. What is doing? JWT is the library. It is using the sign function, which is going to sign something using a secret token. So if you see, I am just giving a user detail. So some basic user detail which is not sensitive, mind it, this user detail is a very basic information for you to get utilized in front end. That like name, surname and last name, this information, or what type of user it is, those you can store inside this user details. And then you pass this secret token, which if you remember, in the .env we have stored this secret token. This secret token is stored. If you just go to .env, here this is the secret token, test1. You can give anything. Just now, just for understanding, we are giving this. So if we just go to this, yes, here we are. So user detail you passed, so that you can send this as a part of JWT, the data as a part of JWT. That's the user detail which you will be utilizing by just decoding it using base64 decoder. No what do you say, encryption is happening. This secret code is required so that this data will be signed by this secret token, and you will generate a signature which will be utilized when this token will be sent back to the servers again for verification. Okay, just mind it. Now this expiry time, it just can set anything. For our understanding purpose, I will be setting it 2 minutes after a few minutes, and this one will be let's say 1 minute, and a refresh token will be 2 minutes. So this is just that you are saying that, hey man, why man again? I'm really bad at this, sorry. So hey guys, this is just for expired token to be expired after this number of minutes. After 10 minutes, let's say if you are saying 10 minutes, then it will be expired, so that this will be invalid token after that. Now let's try to understand our refresh token. Refresh token is nothing different. It is also a JWT token, remember it. But the only difference is we are using a separate secret token for this. If you remember, this one is the secret token for refresh token, and basically the refresh the expired time. In production, normally what happens is you keep your refresh token for expiry date for very long period of time, like 1 year, 90 days or 30 days, and you don't expire it very quickly. You don't want user to log in and keep logging again and logging out, logging on, logging in, logging out, logging in, logging out, logging in, logging out. You don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you simply make it so long so that it will be utilized to refresh this token again and again. Now this you can make it very short expiry time, maybe 1 day, maybe 30 days. It depends on the use case, for what platform you are building this website for. So for our understanding, for ideal case, it may be 3 months, it may be 1 month here expiry date for this access token, or maybe 1 day as well. Sometimes, who knows, for very sensitive banking related stuff, probably will be maybe 1 day or maybe few minutes only in case of banking, right? So if you see, when you log in bank, if you are active for long period of time, it will be okay, but after some time it gets logged out very quickly. Okay, anyway, in this case we will not connect the banking server here. We will simply understand that after this minute of time it will get expired. So that's the difference between access token and refresh token. I hope I have explained it very clearly. Now one thing I want to highlight here is this note in the article I have also given. Like if you remember, if you see, this one is user detail. The user detail which you pass for generating the access token or any JWT, that should be we pass it so that every time the token will get generated for different user, it should be different, right? Let's say I am the user who will log in multiple times, or maybe requiring multiple times generated the access token. Every time it should not be same, right? Whenever I am doing generating access token, it should be different always for every user. It doesn't matter that if I am always requesting, let's say I am requesting first time requesting, then it should be different than the second time when we request to the server. So for the same user also, multiple requests will be a different JWT token. Now this will be sure different, but you just need to make sure that this user data details which you are passing to the sign function should be a JavaScript object, not a string. So if I just read it for you guys, because I just want to highlight the important point is the JavaScript object. It should be a JavaScript object. It should not be a stringified object. It should not be a string. Remember, it should be a JavaScript object. To differentiate, I've just opened this tab for you guys to understand that this is, if you see, this is inside this double quote. This is a stringified object. This won't work. If you give this as a detail to that function, your JWT token is not going to be different each time. Remember it. If you pass just a string, then also it is not going to be different every time. The only case is going to be different every time when you pass this something like this JSON object to that function. Okay, so this should be that. This is that. That's why in my case it is different every time. I will show you that, guys, when I will show all endpoints in Postman. Okay, now let's try to go to understand other parts of the world of this title, not the world. Yeah, this is the world to me right now, right? Anyway, so secret, let's try to understand this part. This is secret and option. So secret or private key. So we have used the secret key. Okay, I have used symmetric key. So there is symmetric key and asymmetric key. So in case of symmetric, we are like every time we are using the same. There's no public and private concept in that case, right? Here, in case of asymmetric, you give key instead of how I can say that. The idea which I'm trying to convey here is like we are using only one secret for access token and only one secret for refresh token. We are not using secret token separate for each individual, just to avoid the database multiple database maintenance, which is not recommended anyway. If you have kept your secret very secure, you don't need to do that. But if you are free to do that if you want, then, but this article is not in that scope. It will be a huge explanation in that case. Not huge, it's just an extra part we are going to store in database, and I need to explain it, but I don't want to go into that. So you can use it, but anyway in production it will work for sure. The secret key, that's my understanding. Please comment if you disagree with me, so that I will also learn that okay, in production symmetric key is not should not be used. Okay, so that's why since I used one time, so it is symmetric. You can use public private key for each user and all. So it's like you will generate public and private key. One is for signing in and one is for validating it. So yeah, cool. Coming to this option part. So what I say this option, when there is a lot of option available to which you can check from here. So if I just go to this lot, it is trying to explain. Yeah. So JSON Web Token is the library we are trying to understand. So if you see this JSON Web Token is having the sign option. If you go to this sign function, there are a lot of options available to you. If you see this option, expires in and a lot of options available. You can understand these if you are interested. That's what I'm trying to convey by this. Anyway, I'll move to the second part. So I think I've already explained this generating refresh tokens. I don't want to do that again. So I think I'm good. Sorry. Now we will try to understand the registration and login art token. I think registration I've already explained. Login and this part of code which is like refresh token is necessary. So let's try to understand now the login part. So I think this piece of code where I'm registering is very super easy to understand. I've already explained this. So let's try to jump to login section. This is important. This is very, if that was the heart, this is the, I don't know what to say after that. Heart of this, then this one is what? This is also heart of that JWT. Alright, so where is that login part? Here. So this function which I'm just highlighting is super important to understand our JWT concept. So we have finally arrived to the vital code in our whole tutorial part. So what happens is, like, when user does click on login, user will be providing with the login like username and password. That we are first validating whether it is exist or not. If it is existing and it is valid, then what we are doing is we are checking that whether this user exists inside database or not. Okay, by using our this what you can say is validate user model. And if this is existing, if it is not existing, we are throwing 401. If it is existing, then what we are saying is here. We are saying that hey model, get one hacker for me, which I am going to use as a some detail of that user to sign the to generate the JWT token. Because when user does sign in, we want to send our access token in response for that user. For that, we are getting some detail from the user for that particular user. So this is the user detail we got. Okay. Now we are going to call the generate function, which we have already understood, right? How it is generating. So you have, this is the JSON object. Remember JSON object, not the stringified object. So this is a token is generated using the access token secret, and a refresh token also getting generated using refresh secret token. Test1, test2, you remember in the .env file? Okay, cool. Now here this one, if you see, is very important part to understand, that we are generating this access token, refresh token. Here it is fine, but access token will be given response in the when user is hitting the login button. That access token will be stored in the local storage of the browser from the front end. Front end will receive that access token response and will store that inside the browser local storage to make sure that if the user is reloading the page, even after that, this will exist. That's the first part. The second part is refresh token. We are going to store in cookie. Now the reason for this storing it in cookie is we don't want this to be accessible by the front end script or by any other. We just want this refresh token to be sent to the browser with the request when it is necessary to refresh the access token. That's the reason only, and I think a lot of reason already explained in the introduction part of the video and first article. So we need to send it, the refresh token, in cookie, not directly to the front end. So front end won't receive, the front end script won't receive this cookie response, front end won't receive this refresh token to their script to get it accessible, but this will simply received by the browser and it will be stored in the cookie, so that it will be sent by the browser only when a valid request for the related valid request will be sent to the server, so that this cookie will be automatically sent by the browser after a request is sent raised by the front end. You understand? Browser is handling, not the front end is not handling. Front end code is not handling this cookie. Browser is making sure that whether this request which is raised by the front end needs to be attached with a cookie to get validated in the server. So to store that cookie or the refresh token inside a cookie, we need to respond that in cookie, right? That's where this piece of code comes into picture. The cookie name is refresh token. With this name, this will be stored in the browser cookie section. This is the refresh token as the value of the refresh cookie we are going to store, and some variable. These are important. We'll understand one by one, but the vital thing here is HTTP only. This is the option of the cookie function. We are saying that, hey, this cookie is only accessible and only usable to the server, not the front end. So this is very important. We don't want other users, other front end code to access this cookie. That's why we are saying this is HTTP only, meaning only server will use this cookie, not the front end. That's this HTTP only true it's saying all about. Let's try to understand what this code is talking about. So I think we understood what is this logging is doing. So let's try to understand this option. So secure, what does this mean? Setting is to true to make sure it is sent only via HTTPS and not HTTP. So if you make secure, this secure to true, which means that except localhost, if the website is not HTTPS requests raised, then it won't get solved. Okay, so it's like setting to make sure that it's sent via HTTPS. So if you want to store cookie, then make sure that request is coming from this HTTPS domain only. Okay, secure website only. HTTP only will explain that it is that to make sure that it is only cookie is only utilized by HTTP by server only, not front end. That's why this needs to be true. So HTTP understood HTTP only, and then we are saying that HTTP same site is none. What we mean by that is this cookie are sent on both its whether it is cross site or same site. You understand cross site and same site, right? If you went through that article of mine about course, then you must be knowing about what is same site, what is cross site. So if it is same site request or cross site request, if same site is none, it means that both are okay with these cookies to be sent. Okay, in both case, both request case, it will be sent. So max age is the time in which a cookie will not be sent by the browser to serve with any request. So if max age is gets let's say expired, then cookie will not be sent by the browser to the server. So let's say cookie is expired, the refresh token is expired probably, then it may not be sent to the server. If it is so there is two cases. One is the refresh token is set to expire, and what is the age of cookie? Both are different, huh? Refresh token expired, meaning that token is invalid even if it is sent to the server while validation is going on in the server. But max age of cookie means that if this max age is crossed of the cookie, then forget about the validation of the refresh token or the via cookie. Just the cookie will also not, even cookie will not be sent to the server in the request. So what do you mean by that? Like when you set the cookie in the browser, let's say when a secure endpoint we are calling, cookie refresh token will get attached to that request and it will be validated to the server. So front end don't need to handle the cookie, that when whether this needs to be passed with the request. Browser will take care of that, whether this request needs to be passed with this cookie or not. Okay, so browser, let's say in our case we have a /stop hackers endpoint which requires not that does not require, I guess. We have a refresh token, R token endpoint, right? Sorry about that. R token endpoint is the endpoint where we are saying that we need to refresh that token, access token. For that we need the refresh token. To refresh the access token, we need refresh token. That refresh token is where existing? It is existing in browser. Who is taking care of that to send with the R token endpoint request? Browser is taking care of that, that hey, this cookie will be sent when this request goes to the server, and that's how it will be validated, and then refresh token will be generated. So I hope this is clear. Path is the part where we say that this cookie managed will send for all the paths. Let's say you have multiple paths in the what you say for all the paths into the sent path set paths of the, okay. Let's say in the application you have multiple routes, multiple paths. For all of the paths, the cookie will be sent to the browser or not. That's you can decide. We are using this path. For now, we are using slash, which means that all of the path will go get attached with the cookie, which is not good idea. But for our case, we are not doing that, just for making it simple. But in your case, what you can do is slash R token. You can make it so that the cookie will only send when this R token request will be happening. Okay, awesome. Coming to this domain is like we are not using it. Okay, yeah, the same case, the way we explain this path, right? What are the domains which will be allowed to attach cookie with? So for example, in our case, our front end is running, let's say, localhost 3002. So we have already we can set that only localhost 3002 will be attached with this cookie. If you do that, other requests going from the browser will not get attached with the cookie. So that's a very important part. When you don't want this cookie to be attached to any other request going on from the browser, you have to have set this domain with some value. Like let's say you have abcd.com. From abcd.com only, this should be this cookie should be attached with the request, not to the xyz.com. That's very important domain and path. Okay, now coming to the response. So yeah, cookie we have already created, so this will be sent to the browser, and browser will see this configuration, and accordingly it will save that in the browser cookie section, and browser will attach this cookie refresh token when, according to this configuration, it will attach to the request, whatever the request it finds valid, is already explained by the options earlier here, right? Now here we are responding the as a login response. We are simply saying that hey, this is the access token, and this is the user is successfully logged in, and you can use that access token for whatever you want. For our case, we will be, when we will build the front end, we will utilize this token to store it in local storage. We will see in that. Now I think we are done with this understanding. Let's try to jump to the refresh token part. Now here, this is going to be interesting. I think we should pause this here. We can understand the refresh token, and we will also learn the how these all endpoints are getting hit, and how the response will be coming back, how the timer and all. All endpoints we will be testing out in the Postman. And before that, we will understand the get refresh access token, what this refresh token is all about, in the next video. So let's jump to that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.